That Don't Sound Right is a podcast about talking the way we did before the internet, when you could not prove anyone right or wrong.
All the expertise was contained in the people involved with the conversation. I'm Peter.
I'm Cecil, and I hope you enjoy our conversations. And as you listen, if you find yourself silently saying, "That don't sound right," send us a comment. You're one of us. Can you give us some more energy with that? So I'm going, "Hey, this is Cecil Davis running for the camera."
Sucker.
And they're like, and so now he's just got me. He's just messing with me. He's like, "Oh, we're going to do one for a rock station. Can you give us one with like a more rocky?" I'm like, "Hey, this is Cecil Davis." Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of That Don't Sound Right. It's a podcast about talking. We're your co-hosts. My name's Peter Bielman.
My name's Cecil Davis.
We're just trying to have a conversation without Google or fact-checking.
Right.
Those kind of things kill the conversation.
Right. They can. They absolutely can kill it. So
today, it's simple. We're just talking. And this day, we're talking about Halloween candy bowls.
Right. So most people that know me know I like a good practical joke.
Yes, and you probably are going to pay dearly for this.
Yes.
For all your practical jokes.
And maybe we'll have a podcast just on some of the ones that either have been done to me or that I have done.
Okay.
So there's some good ones.
Yeah.
My brother's pulled some good ones off on me. We actually have now limited it that you can only get each other on April Fool's Day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which puts the stakes really high.
Well, yeah, because
all
it does.
Day,
but everyone's guard's up.
Right.
And you know it's going to happen.
But we still do it. And you can still pull it off, but everything has to fall perfectly.
Yeah.
And so we've got some great stories of just catching the other one off guard enough.
I mean, it's hard to catch you off guard on April 1st.
Oh, yeah, because on April 1st, both of us don't take calls. We don't speak to anybody. we lock ourselves in the bunker, and just to protect ourselves. But yet we have still gotten to each other.
All right.
But given that reputation, a few years ago, on Halloween, we had this old white melamine bowl, just plastic bowl.
Okay.
That we set outside because we were going to be gone on Halloween. We were out trick-or-treating at somebody's house. Filled the bowl with candy, put a little sign that said...
What did the sign say?
Like take free candy or take some candy.
Was it effective?
No. Yeah, I mean, I think it was fine. I think up until a point, I think it was fine. Cause what
did your kids do when they saw a bowl like that?
Usually they would just get one or two pieces.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. What did your kids do?
I think they wanted to. I think one
empty the bowl.
I think one of them really dug in.
All right. So we come back home that night, and this bowl, I think it was a wedding gift. This bowl was gone. The candy was gone. Bowl was gone. And so
maybe to be expected.
Right.
Right. I mean,
well, in my head, I was thinking, okay. Some neighborhood kids have taken the bowl.
Maybe my kid.
Right. And so the bowl's gone.
All right.
Didn't think about it anymore. Until...
What, was Christy upset? This was a wedding gift.
Well, I'm just saying it was like a cheap, like you get plastic mixing bowls.
Right. You're missing
one of the bowls, right, yeah. But it wasn't like sentimental. I couldn't tell you who gave us the bowls.
Okay, all right.
But it was just a bowl we had forever. And so the bowl disappears until Christmas, when we get a Christmas card from the bowl. So there's a picture of our bowl and an expensive, like $6.50 card that sings, a singing card.
Oh, so it's battery operated.
It's battery operated.
Going on and going.
So picture of our bowl.
They spared no expense.
Expensive card in our mailbox. The card is the writing is kind of...
Oh, yeah, I see the writing. It looks like it's written...
Yeah.
Basically, they're right-handed, and they wrote it with their left hand.
Yes, and it's stamped, but the stamps aren't canceled.
And there's a variety of stamps.
Yes.
Like so there's a 42-cent stamp. There's a 2-cent stamp. I saw you showed me this. This is kind of bizarre.
Yeah, and so they're in our mailbox. So somebody's taking the time to come out and actually stick it in our mailbox because the stamps aren't canceled.
So it's somebody local.
Somebody local.
All right.
So I was like, okay, that's fun.
Game on.
Game on. But
where's my bowl?
Right. So I'm paying attention to things a little bit more now. But nothing happens until Valentine's Day.
Were your spidey senses up at Valentine's Day?
No, I wasn't thinking about it.
Okay, so
Valentine's Day.
They did their job. You had kind of tuned it out.
I'd forgotten about it. We get a card from our bowl, This time the bowl is pictured with another pan that's shaped like a heart.
Okay.
And again, another $5 or $6 musical card.
Is this implying a relationship between the bowl and
bowl
the pan?
and the pan.
Okay.
And same handwriting, like the left hand writing.
Okay.
Someone writing with their left hand that's right-handed. Stamps, not canceled, in the mailbox.
There you go. All right.
So now I'm thinking this is good.
So what's the family's reaction to all
this is all very funny at this point because this is well thought out, well planned.
How old are your kids at this point?
They're pretty young.
All right, so they're getting into this.
Yeah, they're getting into it. So then nothing happens.
All right, they lull you to
They'll lull you to
sleep
sleep again until Easter.
All right.
When I get an Easter card from the bowl, and this time it's pictured with grass in the bowl and Easter eggs.
Okay, so the bowl's getting busy.
Yes.
All right.
So now
it's doing its job.
Yes, it's being a bowl. And so again, same handwriting, same stamps in the mailbox.
Oh, okay.
So then the last card we get from the bowl is on the next Halloween.
Okay.
I get a card from the bowl, but this time the bowl is in my grill. It's a picture of my bowl in my grill under my carport.
Your gas grill.
My gas grill.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So we go outside, and the bowl is in the gas grill.
There it is.
Now, this was 10 years ago, or maybe even longer.
Hey, the rule of thumb at our age, however many years you think it was, you need to add 5.
So it's 15 years ago.
15 years, all right.
So 15 years ago, nobody's owned up to it.
Okay. No kidding.
Which to me is the best.
That's the brilliant part of this.
That's the brilliant part of that because they know that I can't figure out. Now, I had my suspects.
Did you get a Thanksgiving card from the bowl?
I did not get a Thanksgiving
because
card.
this is this episode we're coming out. It's right after Thanksgiving, and we do have some words of wisdom
from
Mr. T.
Really?
Yeah, Mr. T from the A Team. And
what does Mr. T say?
Mr. T said, so someone asked Mr. T, T, when I go to someone's house for Thanksgiving, what should I bring? Mr. T says, you bring nothing. You bring your appetite. You go in there, you eat your food, you be thankful, and that's it.
You got to respect T.
You got to listen to what Mr. T says. Talking turkey with Mr. T.
That's not good words of wisdom from Mr. T.
We probably should have done that before Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
but you can just use that at Christmas.
Use it at Christmas. I was a big Mr. T fan in my day.
I can see that.
Yeah, watched all the 18. So, anyways, I have full admiration. I'm now here on our podcast saying, whoever did that, if you're listening,
maybe they're a listener because they're local.
It could be you.
It could be me.
I don't know who it is. I had my suspects.
All right.
And I accused some people.
All right.
Almost to the point of losing friends over accusing them.
No, really. But they held their ground.
They held their ground that it was absolutely that was not them.
But it could. They
convinced me that it was not them.
All right.
So I still to this day don't know who did it, but it was excellent. It was well thought out. They spared no expense, and they didn't reveal who it was, which is just perfect.
That's a fun story. But there's another eerie connection here between you,
between us
and me.
Right.
Our daughters will be horrified once again. One Christmas. Or in Christmas season, it was sometime in December, we received this book. It's this large book. It's probably 18 inches wide and 24 inches tall.
Right.
And it was an atlas of the world. And it was kind of a historical atlas. It was very intricate and just not a very unusual book. And it just showed up on our doorstep with a note. It said, "From your admirers."
Really?
Yeah. To this day, we have no idea.
Was it addressed to you?
Yeah, it was. Actually, no, it was not addressed. It was just put on our doorstep.
From your admirers?
From our admirers, with a little note on it.
And nobody ever owned up to it?
No one ever owned up to it.
That's funny.
It's another bizarre prank.
Right.
I don't even know it was a prank.
Yeah.
We still have the book. We actually have it on one of our mantles.
Have you flipped through it to see if there were other clues?
We could not find any clues. There was no writing, nothing remarkable about it that would indicate who sent that to us.
So my granddaddy worked in a drugstore.
Okay.
And
in Bladenboro.
In Bladenboro. And they were always messing around and one guy left his pocket knife in the drugstore one day. So my grandfather gave it to a traveling salesman who was going to New York and gave him some money. And
that don't sound right. What's this guy doing?
And so he had him mail the pocket knife back to this guy from New York City. But the guy couldn't figure out how his pocket knife got to New York City.
Whoever did this knows you and your family, and you're well known for these pranks.
Yeah, whoever did it. And I have total admiration for what they did. Because they never came. They've yet to come clean on this.
Well, you might go to the grave not ever knowing.
Yes, and I'm good with that.
All right, that's good. As long as you're at peace with that.
Yeah. So the ones with like my brother, he one time we were going to do a race together.
Like a running race.
A running race, and
we're going to talk about a broken bone again.
No, and so this one actually involved a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours. He called our mutual friend. Of yours and mine, and he.
Well, your brother did.
My brother did.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Like so, the practical joke. So the rules from my brother and I is the practical joke has to take place on April Fool's Day.
Okay, right.
So about a week before, a friend of mine said, "Hey, do you know they're doing some promos for the Brenner's race?" Mm-hmm. And I was like, "No, I didn't know about that." That's
the Brenner's
cool.
race, is that like a 5K for the Children's Hospital?
Yeah, so there used to be a 5K here in Winston called the Brenner's race, and it was a popular race. You could actually, if you broke the state record for a 5K, you could win a Mercedes.
At the Brenner's race?
At the Brenner's race,
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was a popular race. So anyways, my brother set me up a little bit by this guy calling me and saying, hey, they're going to interview some people for the Brenner's race.
All right.
Okay.
Had you been running the Brenner's race in the past?
Yeah. Okay. We've been running it. My brother would run it with me.
Okay.
And so the way he
But besides, you're a very fast runner.
Me?
Yeah. Compared to me. Yeah, I don't know if you remember, you and I ran into each other down at the running course.
Yeah.
And I was so thankful when you peeled off and went home. I could not keep up with you.
Well, thanks. On April Fool's Day that year rolls around.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in the office that day, and I told the girl that answers the phone for us, I said, do not put any phone calls through to me today. No one. I said, I'm leaving at 1 o'clock today. I'm not answering any phone calls.
All right.
And so I'm getting ready to leave, and she says, hey, Cecil, you've got a phone call. I was like, I told you I'm not taking any phone calls. And she says, it's from Twin City Track Club. I was like, except for that phone call.
Oh.
And so I get back in my office, and the guy comes on the phone. He says, hey, this is Tony with Twin City Track Club. We'd love just to do an interview with you about this race. We hear that you're running it with your brother. I was like, yeah, I'm running it with my brother. They said, well, we think that's really great.
No, what a setup.
Yeah, and I was like, can you tell us about it? So I start telling the story about me and my brother, how we run a 5K every year, and we run this race. And he's totally got me at this point. I'm totally into it because I think, because this other guy said that they're doing these interviews.
Right.
It's already in my head.
Oh, right.
Plus my want to be famous is now just, everything is falling into place.
Yeah, right.
So I'm telling the story.
That explains this podcast.
That explains this podcast. So I'm telling him the whole story about, running with my brother, and he's coming up. And so then the interview's over, and the guy goes, hey, we'd love to do a couple of radio spots. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah. He said, I'd just like for you to say, hey, this is Cecil Davis. I'm running for the Cure.
He is reeling you in.
Man, I am in deep at this point.
You are hooked.
And when he says that, I remember by the way, he taped all this. Okay. There's a tape of this.
Okay.
And so you can hear me go, I can say, wait a minute, do you know my brother? And the guy goes, what? And I was like, oh, never mind. I said, it's April Fool's Day. I said, never mind. And I'm right back on the hook.
You were so there.
For one brief second.
You almost spit that hook out.
Yeah, for one brief second.
No, but then he
yanked it back. And so I'm back in. He goes, okay, we're going to do the radio spots. And so he says, can you just say, hey, I'm Cecil Davis running for the Cure, Brenner's. And so I do it. I'm like, hey, I'm Cecil Davis running for the Cure. And they're like, can give us some more energy with that. So I'm going, hey, this is Cecil Davis running for the cure.
Sucker.
And they're like, and so now he's just got me. He's just messing with me. He's like, oh, we're going to do one for a rock station. Can you give us one with like a more rock? And I'm like, hey, this is Cecil Davis. And so like he's giving me all these different like stage instructions.
You're a goner.
And I'm just going to town, man. I'm just, whatever he says, I am doing it. And then at the end, my brother comes on the phone, and I was like,
oh,
yeah.
Man.
But it was
beautiful.
It was beautiful. It was perfect. So,
well, congratulations.
What's that?
That you got hooked that good.
Oh yeah, but that was in response to where I had gotten him.
Okay.
Pretty bad. So that's probably all for another podcast. So, anyways, I do like a good practical joke. There's people that it's hard to find people that like can do a good practical joke without taking it like too far.
Right, like college. There's like the college too far.
Right. Well, I knew there was a person's mom who used to take them too far. Like one year, she called her kids and said that she was in the hospital.
Oh no!
So I'm thinking like maybe that's a little too far. Maybe that's crossing the line. But it is hard to find somebody that can do a funny practical joke.
Yeah.
Without taking it too far.
So the college too far. Maybe this one's not too far, but it's pretty brilliant. So I was in our dorms. There was this dance that all the juniors only went to, and so I was in the Corps Cadets in the ROTC,
right.
And so the freshmen would have to.
You were in the what?
I was in the Corps Cadets at Virginia Tech.
What's that?
It's the ROTC, the Reserve Officer Training Corps.
Oh, really?
Getting ready to go into the military.
Uh-huh.
So instead of going to say the Naval Academy, the Air Force Academy, you can do ROTC at a university, and then you go on to officer candidate school, and then you become an officer.
Right.
Okay, so at Virginia Tech, it's this large organization called the Corps Cadets, where you live amongst other ROTC students. You wear a uniform every day to class. Very similar to being in a military academy, except you're at a university.
Gotcha.
And so at this particular dance, the juniors go off and have their dance, and the freshmen are responsible escorting the dates to the dance. And then the tradition is the freshmen play a prank on the junior of who they escort, right?
Right.
So a friend of mine decided he was going to play his prank, and it all started about a month before the dance when they were tearing up the grass to plant new shrubs. And the guy, they were actually taking up the grass and sod.
Right.
And my friend said, "Hey, what are you doing with that sod?" He said, "Probably, I don't know what we're going to do with it." He said, "Can I have that sod?" So he got all the sod, all the grass, right? And so when it was time to play the prank, he got into the junior's room, took out all the furniture.
Where did he keep it?
Sodded the room, lined it, put up the yard markers and a miniature field goal. Then put all the furniture back in the room.
Nice.
So his room was completely decorated as a football field.
Where did he keep the sod?
I have in the bushes. Then in the newly planted bushes
we just left
that
it
were
there.
being constantly watered because they were new bushes.
Man.
I mean, it was perfect
That's
timing.
awesome.
It was perfect timing.
That's really great. Now, I have seen people, I've seen somebody take a person's room and just rebuild it in another part of the campus.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Whether it's in the bathroom
Right. Yeah.
or in the library.
The sod, that's good.
The sod was nice. That was a nice touch.
See, that's the perfect kind of practical
Right.
joke. Yeah. But, yeah, some people will go a little too far with that stuff.
That's right.
Yeah. The
Speaking of going too far.
What? You come to come to the end of another. That don't sound right. I've got more practical jokes. We should do a whole series on practical jokes.
We could.
But not tonight.
Not tonight.
Anyways, you've come to the end of That Don't Sound Right. So That Don't Sound Right is a production of TDSR podcast in conjunction with Camel City Studios. I am your sound engineer and co-host, Cecil Davis.
Way to go.
Your other co-host and web engineer is Peter Billman, Peter Billman.
We're making it work.
That's right. The graphics designer is Emily Billman. Brand ambassador is Brent. And as always, our listener number one is Scott. So until next Saturday night, keep talking.
And stay curious.